Jaya Gopi Jana Jaya Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Oh Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Oh Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Shri Radhe Shri Prahlad Lakshmi Narasimha Maharaj ki jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai Shri Gaunithai ki jai Samavita Bhaktavrinda ki jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Padaya Bhutalishin Kamakana Swaminiti Namini Krishna Padaya Kata Swaminiti Namini Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Padaya Bhutalishin Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaudavani Pisharini Niyusishwari Pastadistarine. Hi Krishna, thank you for giving me the opportunity to say something about the Bhagavatam. Thank you for coming and give me the blessings that I say something useful which you can take home and apply to your daily life. Ultimately, that's the meaning of preaching or giving classes. Today, we're going to read from the Bhagavad Gita, Canto 10, entitled, it's a little bit in the front, entitled The Opulence of the Absolute. And a very, very nice chapter. Yesterday, Govinda Prabhu gave a wonderful class about it. I was listening on the altar. So it inspired me. So, and the verses we are going to read is the verses 12 till 13. So Govinda Prabhu, I start now, what is the time that I have to, because yesterday you said something about a strict timing. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, because it is a quite long verse, it is the verses 12 and 13, Canto 10, Jeroen. I'm going to read first, you repeat, and maybe it's okay if one of the Prabhus reads, so I can continue if that's good, because the purport is all so long. So if it's nice if all of you start to read the verses, but then yes, is it okay? Okay, because the verses are long and we have to read the whole purport, which I really appreciate. So here it goes. Arjuna uvacha param brahma param dhama pavitram paramam bhavan purusham sattvatam divyam Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum Ahustvam Rasaya Sarve 12, 13. That's what he told me to do.
What's written on the board is only 12.
Yeah, but here's written text 12 and 13. It's in one. Oh, you mean you don't have it, so you can. Okay, so I just read. Ahustvam Rasaya Sarve Devasya Naradas Tatha Asito Devalo Vyasa Svayam Chaiva Bravisima. So Arjuna Vach Prabhus, maybe you can read the text on the board. Arjuna Vacha Param Brahma Param Dhama Paritam Paramam Bhavan Purusham Sasvatam Divyam Adideva Majam Vibhum. So I leave the other part and maybe we can read word for word, okay? That's also required, the word for. Yes, here we go. Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna said, Param, Supreme, Brahma, Truth, Param, Supreme, Dhamma, Sustenance, Pavitram, Pure, Paramam, Supreme, Bhavan, You, Purusham, Personality, Sasvatam, Original, Divyam, Transcendental, Adidevam, the original Lord, Ajam, unborn, Vibhum, greatest, Ahu, say, Tvam, of you, Rasaya, sages, Sarve, all, Devashri, the sage amongst the demigods, Narada, Tatha, also, Asita, Devala, Vyasa, Svayam, personally, Cha, also, Eva, certainly, Bravisi, You are explaining. Me unto me. Thank you. The translation of this verse, I will read it slowly for a better understanding. Arjuna speaking. Arjuna said, "You, Krishna, are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are eternal. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages such as Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasa confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me." Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In these two verses, the Supreme Lord gives a chance to the modern philosopher. For here it is clear that the Supreme is different from the individual soul. Arjuna, after hearing the essential 4 verses of Bhagavad Gita in this chapter, became completely free from all doubts and accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He at once boldly declares, "You are Param Brahma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead." And previously, Krishna stated that he is the originator of everything and everyone. Every demigod and every human being is dependent on him. Men and demigods, out of ignorance, think that they are absolute and independent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That ignorance is removed perfectly by the discharge of devotional service. This has already been explained in the previous verse by the Lord. Now, by His grace, Arjuna is accepting him as the supreme truth in accordance with the Vedic injunction. It's not that because Krishna is Arjuna's intimate friend, Arjuna is flattering him by calling him the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth. Whatever Arjuna says in these 2 verses is confirmed by the Vedic truth. Vedic injunctions affirm that only one who takes to devotional service to the Supreme Lord can understand him, whereas others cannot. Each and every word of this verse spoken by Arjuna is confirmed by the Vedic injunction. In the Kena Upanishad, it is stated that the Supreme Brahma is the rest for everything, and Krishna has already explained that everything is resting on him. The Mundaka Upanishad confirms that the Supreme Lord, in whom everything is resting, can be realized only by those who engage constantly in thinking of him. This constant thinking of Krishna is smaranam, one of the methods of devotional service. It's only by devotional service to Krishna that one can understand his position and get rid of this material body. In the Vedas, the Supreme Lord is accepted as the purest of the pure. One who understands that Krishna is the purest of the pure can become purified from all sinful activities. One cannot be disinfected from sinful activities unless he surrenders unto the Supreme Lord. Arjuna's acceptance of Krishna as the Supreme Pure complies with the injunctions of Vedic literature. This is also confirmed by great personalities, of whom Narad is the chief. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and one should always meditate upon him and enjoy one's transcendental relationship with him. He is the supreme existence. He is free from bodily needs, birth and death. Not only does Arjuna confirm this, but all the Vedic literatures, the Puranas and histories. In all Vedic literature, Krishna is thus described, and the Supreme Lord himself also says in the 4th chapter, "Although I am unborn, I appear on this earth to establish religious principles." He's the supreme origin, has no cause, for he is the cause of all causes, and everything is emanated from him. This perfect knowledge can be had by the grace of the Supreme Lord. Here Arjuna expressed himself through the grace of Krishna. If we want to understand Bhagavad Gita, we should accept the statements in these 2 verses. This is called the parampara system, acceptance of the disciplic succession. Unless one is in the disciplic succession, he cannot understand Bhagavad Gita. It's not possible by so-called academic education. Unfortunately, those proud of their academic education, despite so much evidence in the Vedic literatures, stick to their obstinate conviction that Krishna is an ordinary person. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gnanasalakayam Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhisya Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, the verse again. So Arjuna said, this is very important, this is the statement of Arjuna. Jai, Prahlad, Lakshmi Narasimha Bhagavan ki Jai. Arjuna here is stating both because he accepted, we read here, he accepts what he is saying now, he is accepting. It is not fake. Arjuna said, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn. You are the greatest. All the great sages, such as Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasa, confirm this truth about you. And now, you yourself are declaring it to me. Wow. Okay, what we see here in this in these verses is, I made some notes because of the time. I don't want to go always. I stick to the verses. So some important elements. The first one is what we see here is the point of accepting Krishna as Bhagavan, as the absolute truth. You know, Krishna has three features, the localized Paramatma inside the heart, the impersonal Brahman, but here we are talking about Bhagavan. That is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna is accepting him here. And it is that accepting is related to the title of this chapter. It's called The Opulence of the Absolute Truth. So, what we will see here is that Arjuna confirms, he accepts Krishna as the greatest in opulences, because that's what this chapter is about, opulences. And this Krishna is called Bhagavan. The Parasara Muni gives the definition of Bhagavan, Krishna, as the absolute, and the definition is one who possesses all the six opulences in full, 10%, 100%. That means not a little bit strength or power, but full power, full knowledge, full beauty, full renunciation, full fame, and I've got one, and full beauty. Beauty, renunciation, knowledge, fame. So somebody who is 100% famous, 100% rich, and nobody can even compete with him, that's Krishna. So the difference with us is that we also, thank you so much, Masar Prabhu. The difference with us is that we also have opulences. It is not like Krishna has all the opulences. We have them also, but we have it not in full, not 100%. So, for instance, the Vishnu Tattva have these opulences as well, but 93%. The Lord Shiva has 84%, and the Jivas, including Lord Brahma, has 78%. We have these opulences. You take a practical case, like in the daily life. Okay, a handsome man, a rich man or woman, or a famous man, he will naturally attract others because of these opulences, and but the point is that this attraction is bodily. It's a bodily attraction. I come to the second point, then I can explain. The importance of the point that we have to know what Krishna's opulences are, because that's what this chapter is about. Why do we have to know that Krishna is the greatest, that he has these opulence? Why is Arjuna so much aiming to give us this knowledge? Is it because, or Krishna is telling him this, is it because Krishna wants to bluff about his 6 opulences? No, not at all. As I said, everybody has these talents. So you see, a rich man, and the essence of opulence is, let me start with it, is it has a character. Opulence is an instrument of attraction. That makes the opulence an important thing. The character is, it attracts. So this famous man, rich man, he will always attract others for his money. You see, that happens in daily life. And what that happens is important, when he attracts because of his money, then he attracts others, then the others want to enter into a relationship with this person. Wow, rich man, famous. I want to make friends with him. Relationship. I want to serve him. It's just serving, because service is our constitutional position. So he wants to serve. And now here, Krishna is telling Arjuna, look, you are attractive 100%. The most attractive. That's why your name is not attractive, like we are all if we're famous, but you are all attractive, and that's your greatness, and that is the essence here. So the question may be arise, but why is it so important that how do you say that Krishna is telling Arjuna about all these opulences? It's not, as I said, that he wants to bluff, but he wants to explain that this attraction leads to a relationship. So if everybody knows that Krishna is all attractive and nobody else, he's the greatest, then automatically we all want to enter into a relationship with Krishna. Then devotional service becomes manifest and relevant. So that's why Krishna promoted himself as greatest. Then I can attract everybody. Everybody will come to me instead, or to the other, to me, because I'm the all greatest. And then the relationship will start, and because of devotional service to Krishna, it is not that mundane service anymore, then we become to understand Krishna. And by understanding Krishna, what happens is you got purified, ignorance is gone, and the abode of Krishna comes closer and closer. So that's the meaning of Krishna. That's the reason why Krishna emphasizes that we have to know his opulences through Arjuna in this case, yes? And I read from the purport. What happens? It's stated very nice. In the purport in the Bhagavad Gita 10, same chapter, verse 7, it's stated, Krishna speaking, all this particular knowledge, that means about opulences, is required to increase one's interest in the loving service of the Lord and become fixed in it. So there's a relationship between opulences and devotional service, because it attracts somebody to the service. And furthermore, we read, one who knows who is Krishna, his opulences, is ready to serve unalloyed. And that's so essential, unalloyed. You're ready to serve, not like, I expect something in return, unalloyed, unmotivated, without conditions, unalloyed. And so Krishna is leading us by this knowledge about opulences to the platform of the gopis and the gopas, because there we find unalloyed love, It is the love of the gopis and the gopas in Vrindavan. Krishna was their hero, superhero, not because he is God, but simply because of all these opulences which he displays in his pastimes in Vrindavan. And wow, look, he's killing demons. Ooh, Agasura, Putana, Kaliya, and he's lifting, with this pink, he's lifting a whole Govardhan hill. Only, it's just the opulences which attracted them, which impressed them. It's not that they thought this is God. Instead, the boys were joking, playing, taking him equal, and even his parents, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maharaj, they didn't consider him God. Instead, oh, he's my loving son. I have to protect him from all the bad things happening here. So we have to sing some hymns for him. That's the position. And that is the love, the Madhurya Ras, the love in Vrindavan. And so we see here how Krishna is trying to give Arjuna knowledge about the opulence, and Arjuna is the one who's giving it to us. Just to make us understand that you can come if you really are interested in the pastimes of Krishna and really try to understand his opulences, you can come to the stage of Madhurya Ras on a light devotional service, okay? But now, the point in this verse is also that we have to accept it. We have to accept that Krishna is the greatest, and that's our problem. We have to accept it. Just like the residents in Vrindavan. He's not God, he's the greatest. Look what he's doing. No, and this is our problem. Our problem is we hold back. You know what it means? We hold back. 40% is for you, Krishna. 60% leave it up to me. I can control it. Don't come. You may control 40%, but 60%, come on. I know what I'm doing. This is mine. That's we hold back. The same. And okay, it's not only we. Also great persons, they were not 100% convinced of Krishna being the greatest, accepting Krishna as a supreme. And the example is giving of Arjuna. Arjuna himself, I make it short, you know all the story of, you know the story of Arjuna. To make it short, Arjuna had doubts about Krishna. They were equal friends, you know, joking, laughing, but not in the way that he accepted Krishna as, no, not at all. So he had doubts. And then, to make it short, Krishna thought, okay, you have to come to the stage where you understand that I'm the supreme, so I make you bewildered. I make you confused. That's what Krishna is doing with all of us. Otherwise, we will never try to understand Krishna if everything is happy. So he makes us bewildered. Lord Brahma got bewildered, everybody. He make him confused. Arjuna, you have to fight. You have to serve me, you have to fight. That's your duty. You're a Kshatriya. Perform your duty. Oh, I have to fight, but kill my parents, kill my family, my relatives. It is crazy for words. They are my bodily relations, you know. And there it goes. Bodily relations, bodily concept. And that is his weakness, because we are not his body. Even a pure devotee as Arjuna felt in the trap of bodily conception. No, I cannot kill him. He's my uncle, he's my aunt, etc. Relatives. That's the bewildering. And then at a certain point, Arjuna thought, and then is Bhagavad Gita 2:7, where Arjuna changed position. He said, okay, Krishna, it's too much for me. I can't solve this. This is too... I thought I can solve all my problems. Always, I was so independent. I have no problems. But now, I come to a stage that I can't solve this. Now I need you. Now I feel that I'm dependent of you. So please, help me. Become my spiritual master. Instruct me. I become your disciple. And here we see something very nice. Here we see that a guru-disciple relationship is established, where Arjuna understands that, accepts Krishna as his supreme, as his guru. And it is in this relationship of guru-disciple where Arjuna got purified and started to realize and understand more and more and more that this person is not an ordinary person. He's the greatest. Okay? And so Arjuna is speaking these words here because he accepts Krishna as the supreme, and he wants us to accept him as all. But Arjuna thought, if I say Krishna is the supreme and the greatest, nobody will believe me. What kind of authority do I have? So that's why you see in these verses he mentioned some references. Or he thought, if I say it, they may think, oh, he's flattering because Krishna is his friend. And that's why in this verse, always you see, to convince others, there are references. So that's why in the verses is written, not only did Arjuna accept Krishna as the supreme, but also the Vedic injunctions are stating the same. The Puranas, the Vedas, etc. And not only them, but also great sages, like Narada, we mentioned some in the first, they are all telling the same. So that's important. We accept it because the source, the authorities are telling the same. And now we come to one of the last points, and now it's very important what is stating here about the parampara system in the last part. So these sages are not ordinary persons. We have to accept blindly what they're saying, the acharyas, and this is the parampara system. It's written in the verse which I was reading. To understand the Bhagavad Gita, we have to accept the statements like the statements in the verse, Krishna, you're the supreme, you are this, you are that, eternal, the greatest. So, to understand the Bhagavad Gita, we have to accept the statements from the Puranas, Upanishad, Vedas, great acharyas, without doubt. Without doubt. Accept it without blindly. And you know what a parampara system is? I don't have it. It's just that the transcendental knowledge, it comes down from disciple to disciple to disciple. Like on the altar, you see, you get, for instance, it comes from Bhakti Vinod, from Gaur-Kishore, let's start it. Gaur-Kishore Babaji, it goes to Bhakti Siddhanta, Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, his disciples, and it comes in that. That is the parampara system. And the most important thing is what Prabhupada always says is you have just to repeat without adding something, because without cutting, without interpreting. The parampara system is you repeat what your previous acharya said, repeating like a postman who's bringing post without opening it. But here you have what I get, I give you as it is. Okay, now I'm coming, and this is also an important part. And another important part is, yes, I come to the end now. So there are more, but I stick with yes, the repeating. The one thing is also important in the last part. It's written by Krishna's grace. Arjuna understands by Krishna's grace. That's also very important. We have to realize that all is happening by Krishna's grace. This is a nice saying. No blade of grass moves without the sanction of the Lord. You know, sometimes we are disappointed when something happens. We are sincere, we're doing all our endeavors, but still the result is not what we desire or want. It is according to Krishna's desire, but we have to accept it because everything is the Lord's sanction and He has a better plan for you. That's always, He's ever better, the best well-wisher. Okay, I want to tell you something about Lord Brahma. That's why I stop here, but I want to conclude like this. The lessons to learn from these verses we heard is that we have to accept the parampara system blindly. If the acharya say Krishna is the greatest, don't think about it anymore and why and who. Yes, then he's the greatest. That's one thing. That's what Arjuna wants to tell us. And we have to try to understand this from somebody with authority, somebody in the disciplic succession. And the last part is, and if you talk and you try to understand, and you understand, then comes the application, the most important part. Then you have to apply it in your daily life. It's not like, oh, Krishna is the greatest, I know, and we all know, we write it on the paper. It's something on the paper, it's the greatest. No, we have to live it. That's the most important and the most difficult part. As I said, we know that Krishna is the greatest, He knows the best for us, but still we want to control part. The 60 is we holding back. 40 is for you, Krishna. Don't touch this. I know what I'm doing. Okay, and that's our problem. Is that worse? No, it's not worse. We have mercy in this age, but it's not something to be ashamed of, because great personalities, really great personalities, they also hold back. They also have, can't come to the point that Krishna is the greatest. And I end with this one. It's my favorite lila, the Brahma Vimohan lila. It is the lila, the pastimes of Brahma bewildered, confused. As I said, Krishna is always confusing somebody. everybody to come to the point that I'm the supreme. Okay, short. Brahma, Lord Brahma is not an ordinary person. He's the Vedic authority, and he is the best service ever in the whole on all the planetary systems. Brahma, his service to Krishna was to make all these planetary systems and the living entities and all. That's amazing service, So it's a very high respective authority. Now what happens now? Okay, Lord Brahma, he saw, I go fast. He saw, and this is all in the Vrindavan pastimes. I forgot to say, the topic opulence is so nice and so important because it is so directly related to the pastimes of Krishna book. There the opulences are displaced in his pastimes. Okay, here Lord Brahma, I think it's chapter 13 and 14 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, anyhow, Krishna book. Lord Brahma at a certain point sees, hey, this small ordinary boy, 5 years old, holding rice in his left hand, and he is killing demons like this great serpent, 8-miled Asura Kaliya. He was like, who is this? But now what happened is after killing Agasura, Krishna and the coward boys, they went to take lunch. And at a certain moment, and Brahma is just following the whole scene. He said, what's happening? What's going to happen next? Then he saw Brahma saw Krishna with the calves, and the cows, they were ready to take lunch, and he thought, I'm more powerful. I think I'm the greatest. How can this small boy be the greatest? He started to laugh. This is a joke, this is a joke. So he wanted to test Krishna's power. Is this really God? So what he did is he stole the calves while they were preparing for lunch. He stole all the calves and the cows, and he hide them somewhere in a cave. Okay, and then the boy said, "Hey Krishna, we don't see them anymore. They're gone." And Krishna, wait, just start. I'm coming. I'm just going to find. But Krishna knew this was Brahma, Lord Brahma. So Krishna came, found nothing. He came back and he said, "Sorry, gone." So at a certain moment, yes, did Krishna say they're all gone? Okay, anyhow, Krishna came back and he said, I don't know what he said. Anyhow, I lost that part. Yes. That's the point I want. Yeah. So what happened is Krishna. I go fast now because this is the most important part. So Brahma came again to the spot to see because he knew that the boys were hidden. But he came again to the spot later at a certain stage, and what he saw is, wow. He saw all the cows and calves, they were transformed in Vishnu forms. And amongst them was standing this boy, this 5-year-old boy, with rice in his left hand, which is not Vedic, and he was standing there amongst them. And then suddenly he thought, hey, I made a great mistake. I made an offense. This boy is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the greatest. So at that moment, he was convinced that Krishna is the greatest. Actually, he knew, but this was a test of Krishna's power. So, and what happened is that then the prayers of Lord Brahma see the light, because then he's praying. He asked for forgiveness, and the nice thing is he asked in his prayer, "Praise Krishna, I'm too proud. This was my pride, and please in my next life make me humble, so humble as the blade of grass, and let me come back in the residence of Vrindavan Dham as a humble person, or let me associate with the residents of Vrindavan." So he asked for humility, and Krishna rewarded it, because his next life he became Brahma Haridas Thakur. So the essence here is we are not Lord Brahma. And the point here is that Prabhupada says here that it is not like we have to focus on, Brahma is so weak. He is proud. Look how weak it is. That's not the essence. The essence is, Prabhupada said, the essence is we have to understand that even if great personalities fall in the trap that Krishna is not the greatest, who are we? So we have to be very careful. I end here, very careful, and it means that we have to try to come to the stage not to think that Krishna is the greatest, but to live it. And when you live in a way that you're a humble servant of a servant, and that's your position, in do devotional service, then you come to a stage that you really understand Krishna, and from that understanding, ignorance will dispel, and then, then the way back to Godhead, the boat of Krishna comes closer and closer. Okay, can I end here? Thank you. Yeah? Okay. Are there questions or comments? Yeah. Okay, thank you for giving me so much time. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Ron. I take some. I'm not thirsty, but because you brought it, I take some. Oh, it's you, okay.